What's happening, everybody? We welcome you back to this is not just another episode of San Diego Prep Insider. If you have watched our show at any point over the last 2.5 years, maybe 4.5, 5 years, you've noticed that we like Sage Creek as a program and as a school because they're just a bunch of bros playing baseball, hanging out, succeeding, winning championships, all the culture that Ryan Madsen has founded. Thank you for the hat again, coach. But also specifically, we've really enjoyed this kid that's joining us right now, Porter Rovin, because last year, as a play-in seed, Sage Creek goes on to win a championship that was requiring of two things in that championship game: for Porter Rovin to throw the best game of his life and for a bunt to work out better than any bunt has ever worked out. So we like our lefties. We like him crafty. We love Porter Rovin, especially because he's now going to stay local. He's committed to play baseball at USD. So Porter, that is a lot of introduction. We got a lot to talk about. Thank you for being on with us. Congratulations. Let's
Yeah, thank you for
go
having me.
with the Toreros. We always,
Yeah.
I mean, anybody that goes on to play at the next level, absolute dog. But a little extra shout out and love from our show if you're staying local. Any college,
Mhm.
any local, but USD specifically the last couple of years, I kind of think maybe has jockeyed themselves up to being the top local program. Maybe UCSD, USD are kind of in this low key rivalry, but like
Mhm.
producing major league talent, really, especially on the pitching side, really fantastic pitching. So it seems like
Mhm.
was this perfect fit? Was this the dream school? What ultimately landed you at USD?
Yeah, so obviously USD, I was originally committed to LMU in my junior year. And over the summer, going into my senior year, there was a coaching change. And a big thing that I loved about LMU was the family environment they created, especially with the coaches and players. And I feel like the coaches that were there really brought that. So I decided to decommit and rethink my process of like schools that I wanted to go to. And I stayed in touch with Coach Mitch Holland, who went over to USD. And we had a bunch of long talks, and I talked with Coach Ungrich and Coach Ford, the other coaches at USD. And luckily, they had room for me, and they were really interested in me, and they took me down on campus, and we talked about it a lot. And they brought that like the coaches warm home feeling. They're big on not just creating ball players, but creating good people for the future. Every kid that we met on campus, shook not only my hand but my parents' hands, asked them how their day was, like good introductions. And Coach Ungrich does a great job of keeping everyone checked and keeping them working hard. And I think another huge fact that played into my decision at USD was that they're the third top program in getting guys into the MLB in California behind Stanford and UCLA. So it was obviously a big decision, but I feel 100% confident in the place that I'm going to help my future and to be a part of that team and help them in any way I can.
You can't hit that last point of emphasis enough to say that
Hmm.
they are producing major league talent as a
Yeah.
pipeline. It's no longer just the statue of Chris Bryant, and then everyone else is like, oh,
Hmm.
like he played a year in rookie. Like, no, there is regular talent coming out, especially on the pitching side. Did any of it
Yeah.
have to do with the fact that you kind of have the mojo at that field already and you're like, I'm comfortable here. I like the mound. No, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I've played there tons of times in tournaments, and then that championship game last year. Obviously, it's home, so it's really fun, and I definitely think that also knowing like the talent and other kids in my recruiting class that are coming with me that are going to be my teammates is really fun. We got a few kids at Cathedral that I know are going there, and kids around the county and kids in LLA and
No, like
Orange
they're
County. So
actually focusing on local, which to me, it always blows
yeah.
my mind how the local schools don't just dig straight into it. And we saw
Hmm.
SDSU like 4 or 5 years ago go heavy on the local, it not pan out, and then they kind of abandon it. Point Loma Nazarene tends to pick up a couple here and there. UCSD
Yeah.
has started to do better at it the last couple years, but it really seems Coach Ungrich has like pushed the chips all in on. We've got talent here. Why go anywhere
Yeah.
else? So I'm stoked to see him succeeding at that. I always like to ask people that have finished their recruiting journey, what's maybe some advice that you would give to eighth graders, freshmen, like anybody that's just in the starting along the path of doing all this?
Yeah. So I would say a big thing for me that helped with my recruiting was getting out there, like going to places that you know coaches will be at, or going to places that you feel like will provide the best opportunity. Um, I feel like every kid that wants to play at the next level, if they really want to, will put in the work. But no, like emailing coaches, finding places where coaches will be at tournaments, going to the bigger tournaments, like making that sacrifice, maybe working for the money to pay for those tournaments, getting on those teams, but getting out there into the world where coaches will see you, and then showing them how hard you work on the field, um, is probably the best way that helped me. I give a lot of thanks to my travel ball coach, Jared. He like provided me with the tool set and ability to go out into Atlanta and Phoenix and get out to those tournaments to meet coaches. And obviously, if you put in the work like that, you have friends on your side, like coaches like Madsen and my guys at Sage Creek and my teammates, all providing good words to get you to those schools. So if you do your thing, but you get out there to see the coaches, you'll find the right place for you.
You talk about having to put in some side hustle to pay for some of this stuff. Is there an odd job or two that you have done? Like, are we talking about have you done ditches for jacuzzis? Have you been a trash? Like, is there something that you had to do along the way where you're like, this is just part of my major league journey. I got to just do it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, obviously my parents weren't just gonna let me go out there and let them pay for everything. I wasn't gonna let that happen. So I actually am from St. Louis and my mom owns a coffee shop there. So if I was ever traveling for baseball, I would stop in there and work there for a couple of days. And then I have a job in Solana Beach that I used to work all the time at like an ice cream place, and just making the money how you can, or get out there, do stuff so you can get out
So,
there. Yeah.
so we're talking to a part-time barista, CIF champion college baseball player. Like, could you make a mean macchiato with all the foam art and everything, or what's the limit on the coffee skills?
I don't know if I'm that good at it, but I can make a latte or something like that.
Deal. So hopefully you don't. Hopefully the big league contract pans out. But if not, there is a coffee cart in your future. Maybe
Yeah.
Porter Rovin's coffee. Okay, real quick. Let's move on. We talked about the championship game last year. I want to
hmm
talk about that whole championship run to set it up for people
hmm
that were not maybe sticking it straight in their veins last year like our show was.
Yeah.
The way that the playoff format works here in San Diego is for the baseball, there is a play-in seed to get to a double elimination tournament that, like, for Sage Creek, they were the play-in. They had to play 7 straight road games to win a championship. They are the first team in CIF San Diego section history to accomplish play-in to champs. And it all culminated in you guys taking Cathedral Catholic down to the wire. I want to say you pitched into the 7th or late into the 6th, something like that, before they had to pull you. Ultimately, the game came down to you guys bunted. Well, like, maybe not just the championship game, but that whole run. What are still some of your memories, some of your takeaways? Can you even believe that that was really like how you became a CIF champion?
Yeah. So obviously we had to make the play in, but we knew before even going into the play in that every team who wins their league gets a chance to make the play in. So we actually had to beat West Hills in order to make the play in game. So we had a play in for the play in. Um, and then once we made the play-in game, we knew that we just had to take every game one at a time. We actually told each other before every game, go 1-0 today. Don't worry about tomorrow or what you did yesterday. Do your best today to win this game. Um, and I feel like there's no possible way we don't win a championship without everyone playing how they did. 1 through 9, pitching staff, catchers, coaches, everyone played to their best ability every day they could. And every game that we played in, from Coronado over to Christian, Del Norte, Del Norte, Del Norte, and then pushing it all the way to that championship game. It was a huge thing, especially Luke Crusoe pitching in that championship game, Elijah Stevens playing the way he did, Sean Psyche playing the way he did, Max Beal playing the way he did, and we had guys, seniors last year, who played out of their mind, and half those guys were actually sophomores at the time. So we definitely had a lot of guys step up in the places that they needed to, and it was amazing to see. And it was a 1 through 9 team that we did it all together, and it was really special.
You talk about that sort of resiliency, that ability to just say, let's play for today, let's play for today, and just stack
Hmm.
wins consecutively. That seems like that has to come from somewhere. I'm assuming you'll give Coach Madsen some credit, but I think it's really interesting if you could just kind of take us inside like the psyche and the culture of Sage Creek baseball, because it seems like for a couple of years now, you guys have been one of the most Teflon teams of like we call them just a bunch of bros,
Hmm.
but really it seems like somehow coach has tapped into this culture there of you guys are never phased by any big moments and opportunities. So
Hmm.
like take us a little bit inside what makes you guys tick so well.
So I definitely think like being in Sage Creek for the past 4 years, like something that separates us from the others is like we are one brotherhood. Like every kid is with every kid. And yeah, I throughout the years we have beaten pretty good teams. I mean, sure we've also lost to some, but you don't win every one. But if you come to Sage Creek or we come to you, like it's not going to be an easy game ever. We're gonna play to the last inning and the last pitch and the last out, and we play as a team, and we really work as hard as we can at practice so that in every game and every situation we can come into against any team that we know we're prepared and we do it together.
I know for a fact that the Bob Squad, I don't know if it's still called that, but the Sage Creek Bob Squad, as they are known on social media, has been pretty good at getting out there to be seen, at least in terms of the battle of the fans off and on. You guys
Hmm.
don't have a football program. After
Hmm.
last year's Miracle Championship, are you getting appropriate fan attendance, or do we need to gently, subtly call out the student body at Sage Creek to be like, hey, look, defending champs, this is your school sport. Like, let's get out there now.
No, they do a great job. They interview us at school and they like post every game and they try and get guys out there. Um, we actually just had like a women's basketball just had a great miracle run, and like our soccer always does something great. But they really did a great job on our championship last year, and they really emphasize what this year means to everyone. So it's really cool to see the whole school get into it.
So you are
Especially
you are
after.
feeling adequately respected about
Yeah, of
that.
course.
Okay,
Yeah, of
hey,
course.
don't of course because sometimes baseball programs can be absolutely fire and not get any
Yeah.
love from their student body. So
No,
congratulations,
yeah, I
Sage
get it.
Creek
Thank you.
admin and students. You guys are doing a great job. For you as a player, I love to ask. Baseball players seem oddly superstitious or weirdly ritualistic. Anything that you got to do on game day that's kind of funny or fun?
Actually, yeah. I mean, I have a ton of like little micro superstitions, but days that I pitch, I definitely have a weird superstition that everyone on the team makes fun of me, but I have to tie my shoelaces like as tight as I can, and then I have to knot it all the way until like the strings are all the way down. So it's like 5 or 6 knots, but it's just like it's like a superstition. I don't know. I always have to knot it all the way. Um, I don't know. It just
Okay.
if I feel like they're not all the way in there, then I don't know. It's like a weird superstition I
You
have.
gotta your feet gotta be nice and snug in those cleats.
Yeah,
You're saying
exactly.
no
Yeah,
no
yeah.
wiggle room when you're on that mound pivoting and pushing. You got to get it extra
No.
extra snug. Have you ever walked out there and been like, hold on, my shoe's untied? Everyone looks at it, go, sir, your shoe is quadruple tied. You're like, no, but that counts as untied for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome. Also, just on the ritualistic and superstitious, we have to give a specific catcher shout out to Sean Psyche. He is your battery mate and is a
Hmm.
favorite of ours, as well as you. Nothing specific to talk about him or anything. Just wanted to give him a little bit of a shout out and some love on that front. For you guys going forward, what's left of the season is mostly, if not entirely, league play. So
Yeah.
say to everybody out there, hey, come out to check out this game or this series or this opponent. Do you have one that's the big rival? Do you have one that you guys specifically are jonesing for? Who would you tell people to come watch this season?
Um, I would say come out and watch any league game you can. League's a completely different environment than most tournament games. As a school, we have actually never won league. So our goal this year is to win every league game we can and put us in the best position to win that league. Um, we just capped off our first game against Westview this week, and we took the first win in league. And we have Poway this week, and we're hoping to get as many wins as we can this week and keep going week by week, day by day.
Yeah, people don't really understand if you're not a baseball fanatic that it's a grind and a gauntlet to get through
Mhm.
league play, let alone an entire season, because so few baseball teams do the non-league thing where they'll just schedule a bunch of tomato cans that they can whoop ass on. Like it
Mhm.
usually is of your 20 or 30 games that you'll play, about 90% of them are against future division something talent here in San Diego. So it certainly is a ton of grind. So
Yeah.
being out there like they're shooting for this, know that's a pretty high bar that they have set for themselves right now.
Mhm.
Before we get out of here, Porter, I always like to close out with for seniors specifically, what is the legacy that you guys you specifically as a senior, you as a senior class want to leave behind for this program?
Me specifically, I've been just trying to show kids how they can come out and be a leader. When I came to Sage Creek, I was not a very, loud kid. I wasn't very talkative, or I didn't really lead a lot of people. But now, obviously, as a senior, trying to take that role and show people like you can lead each other and pick each other up every game. And as a senior class, um, we're just trying to show kids what Sage Creek baseball is if they haven't been on the team before. We're trying to leave a big footprint in what we have done over the years in school history, um, and show those kids that they can do it in the next coming years.
Yeah, you showed them that you can win the hardest possible championship scenario. So it's only uphill
Yeah,
from there. It can only get easier
yeah,
at this point. No more playing games and everything. Porter, thank you so much for being on the show. We always like to
yeah,
remind everybody, for the baseball players specifically, an extra oomph and emphasis on watching these interviews, because this will most likely be somebody that you can play as in MLB The Show within the next 5 to 7 years. So just say you knew them when. So when you're playing as them as their MLB The Show debut, which I'm sure means only something to baseball fanatic people, but hey, that's what our show is here to cater for. Porter's just another one of those great student athletes who's moving on, so you can say you knew him when. Thank you again for being with us, Porter. Next time
yeah.
we see
Thank you for
you,
having
let's
me.
let's get a cup of coffee together. It's on you. You're gonna make it for me, and we'll talk to you guys soon.